There's a lot of things that can affect how your locks grow from the time that you start your locks all the way up until the end of the maturation phase. And there's a couple different phases that you go through. There is the before you started phase, and then there's like the starter lock phase, which is usually in month 1 to about month 8 until they start really maturing, when they become hard. And then up until then, really, you are testing out a lot of things to see what works, how your hair works in your lock journey. And you want to get to know that process the best that you can, because that process and that knowing your locks and your own hair will set you up for success in the rest of your lock journey, just because you've gotten to take that time to know what your hair likes and what your hair doesn't like to grow thick, healthy, and longer semi-freeform locks. Every year for Juneteenth, we celebrate our freedom and liberation socially, but how often do we still feel in bondage mentally? It can be difficult to feel safe unpacking your emotions in white-dominated spaces, like at work or anywhere else in public, so we often release it at home, on the people who actually love and care for us of our own community. Or we end up holding feelings in. Either one perpetuates negative mental health stereotypes in the Black community. I'm Lauren Rainey, mindfulness coach, yoga and meditation teacher, and owner of Black and Meditated, where we see mindfulness as a way of life, and meditation is the medication in the Black community. So if this message resonates with you so far, join me for a special mindfulness masterclass on Juneteenth called Master Your Emotions. We'll talk about how to release negative emotions more effectively, strengthen holistic well-being, and uplift others in the Black community. Let's honor our history. This is for folks of color and allies on a path to the true peace, which is peace of mind. And it's completely free to join. Click down below to register for free. The next thing I'll say is avoid chemicals if you can. I mean, you can always avoid chemicals because chemicals just are not natural for our hair. So avoid chemicals. I don't recommend bleaching your locks and dyeing your locks unless it's not a permanent dye and it doesn't do any damage to your hair. It's just like a rinse. I think that's what they call it. However, this also can go back to how you start your locks, which is the first thing I said. How you start, or the foundation, is super important, because if you started with a unhealthy foundation with your locks, then as you get years into your lock journey, you might have some problems. For example, the foundation is how your loose natural hair is. Do you have split ends? Did you bleach and dye your loose natural hair a lot? Is it damaged? Does it have heat damage? I don't know. Like, however you started your loose natural hair when you started your locks, that is a foundation for your whole lock journey. So, for example, me, I made sure I did a good trim before I started my locks, because I didn't want to start my locks on an unhealthy base of hair. If you have split ends, if you have heat damage, if you have curls that just are not curling up or they're not bouncing back, that might be a sign of damage. But you want to stay away from chemicals if you're in your beginning lock stage. I mean, if you're in the non-starter lock stage where you haven't started but you're contemplating, maybe consider getting a trim. Consider cutting off any damage so that you can go into it already healthy. And when you're in your lock journey, if you're, months in or even years in, you can always do a trim. If you notice that there's some damage, something that you got to cut off, it's much better to just cut off your length and not have to sacrifice the health of your hair just because you want longer locks. It's better to just cut it off, and it will feel healthier. You'll probably feel healthier, and you'll probably notice a difference in your locks if you just trim off the dead ends or trim off the weeds. And that's a great segue into the next tip, which is to keep your locks moisturized. If you want to grow long, healthy, and thick semi-freeform locks, you want that moisture, but you don't want to weigh down your locks. So use actually hydrating products, which include products such as maybe the oils to moisturize your scalp and hair. Just make sure you're not overdoing it, right? You want to spray with water. I think water is the best moisturizer, and water gives you excellent hydration. I personally use distilled water, and if you use water and some type of moisturizer, like if it has aloe in it, that's great. You can also use the House of Isis scalp mist to moisturize your locks. That's what I currently use to moisturize my locks. So make sure they're moisturized and hydrated. You want to hydrate, maybe even a steam treatment. I haven't personally done a steam treatment yet. I know I need to. As my locks get longer, they're getting older and more mature, and that also comes with more dryness for your locks. So those are just a couple options. The next tip I have is that if you really want the thickness or the fullness and that look of locks, then you probably want to avoid palm rolling. So this goes around the idea of like styling and protective styling, I guess. You probably want to avoid palm rolling your locks. Palm rolling your locks is when you take a lock and you literally, you go like that, you palm roll it. The reason why you want to avoid that is because that condenses your hair. So if your lock is this thick, let's see, if your lock is this thick, if you palm roll it between your hands, it's going to compact the hairs in between, and your lock might go from this thickness to this thickness. You know what I'm saying? And so I don't know why my camera wants to focus on my picture, but it might go from this thickness down to this thickness, right? So if you really want to keep the thickness and fullness of your hair, you want to make sure that it stays more fluffy and less compact. So what that means is you want to probably stay away from palm rolling your hair. You might also want to stay away from getting retwists, because retwists, what they do is you're stretching your hair from the root. So you're first of all pulling at the hairs on your scalp, and then you're twisting it around to stretch those hairs, and over time as they lock up they become more compact, so they lock like that. That's just one tip. I never palm rolled my hair, and if you see my ends, you can still see the texture, because I started with 2-strand twists, and you can still see the texture of my ends. They're like the 2-strand twist pattern or whatever, because I never palm rolled my locks ever. So they still look thick and full because of those things. Vitamins and supplements. This goes with nourishing your body with wholesome foods. One of my favorite supplements is sea moss, and I actually do have a sea moss discount code if you want to get it in a capsule, which is what I take. Actually, let me go and run and get my capsules. So this is my sea moss. So sea moss is a, they call it like a superfood. Sea moss is like a superfood blend. And the reason why you want to get sea moss is because it has like all 102 vitamins and minerals that your body needs for, living and thriving. Also, multivitamins just do not do it. I'm sorry, multivitamins don't do it for me. You want to make sure that your body is balanced in blood flow, your hormone regulation, all the things. And so if you're not sure about what vitamins your body is low in, maybe even go and get a blood test. So I got this sea moss from Plant-Based Jeff. That's the name of his site, but I know Jeff personally. He's based out of Atlanta, and this is his business. He has sea moss capsules, but he also has sea moss that you can get and ship to you in the raw edible form. He has the dry sea moss, so you can go check him out. I have a discount code. I don't know it by heart, but I'll pop it right here. And I'll also put my affiliate link and code down in the description box. I got you. And then one of the last things that I should say is that, and then the next thing that I'm going to say is that, genetics make up a huge impact on how fast your hair grows. There's no time, like expected time that your hair is supposed to grow. I had no idea that my hair was going to grow as fast as it did, because my hair has never grown that fast when I had loose natural hair. But again, when you get locks, because your hair is more undisturbed and you lose less hair than if you were loosely natural, it's going to probably look like it's growing faster, which it's not exactly growing faster or slower than when you had loose natural hair. It's just that you're avoiding split ends. It's not breaking off as much because you're keeping all your hair. It's locked in. So patience is key. Do not compare your journey to anybody else's journey. Whatever is right for you might be wrong for the next person. So getting advice is awesome, and looking at YouTube videos is awesome, but this is also a great time for you to get to know your hair better than anyone else can know your hair, better than any other loctician, better than any other hairstylist, any other YouTuber, because at the end of the day, you can be your own loctician, and that's the fact. That's the word. Go to the link in my description box for all of the codes and things like that. Go get your CMOS if you don't already have it, and then go grab yourself something from the House of Isis Locks products line, because you deserve it. And have a great rest of your day. I hope to see you in the next video. But until then, I'm sending peace your way, love your way, and joy to you, your family, and your friends. All right, y'all. Peace.